Do you think there's an opportunity now for a new style or more business shows? I mean, getting back on TV with my own show is something that I'm interested in exploring. I'd love to have my own business show. I've got some ideas that I'm going to pitch in the next 24 months. Do you think there's room for new business shows to come out? Is there enough of an audience? I know you're a big advocate for entrepreneurship. You know, The Apprentice and Dragon's Den have been the two kind of kingpins in the market for a long time. So do you see...
I do, but if you look at sort of what's happened, lots of people, there's been lots of formats that just haven't worked. Branson had one, Gordon Ramsay's just had one which was not too subtle, a sort of play on The Apprentice. Like they haven't
Who's that,
worked.
Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah.
Was that a UK one? I missed that one.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, it was like I didn't watch it, but all I know is everyone kept saying it was a rip-off of The Apprentice. I think it was some sort of search for a chef, but the format was very, very similar. So people have tried, everyone's desperate. There is an appetite, massive appetite for it, but no one seems to have found a formula that's worked to any degree, but they're still trying. I mean, it's...
And what formula do you think would work in your experience? What is it that people want from... What do they enjoy in business shows? What are they looking for?
In my personal opinion, you've got to find the balance between entertainment and education. And that's why The Apprentice works. I think with Dragon's Den, it worked. Dragon's Den is less entertainment, but it's more, you know you're learning, but you're enjoying watching it. And we've all sat there thinking, would I invest? What questions would I ask? How would I rip that business apart? What's this one going to, you engage with it. And it's the same with The Apprentice. You're watching it and you're thinking, oh, you fucking idiot. Why didn't you do that? And that's part of the enjoyment of it. So it can't be too
serious.
No one wants to watch an educational video. It's education blended with entertainment. So you're learning whilst you're enjoying it. And that's the key thing. And I don't know why no one has ever, or in recent times, managed to get it right. In my mind, look, I'm not actually going to pitch you my idea because you'll nick it. But I think there is an opportunity.
I promise I won't.
Yeah, right. So, I think with technology, there is an opportunity to do something a little bit more interactive. And the same as I just described, like everyone sitting there watching it, thinking, what would I do? How would I do it? I'd do better. That's good, that's bad. I think now with the advent of crowdfunding, with the advent of social media, which allows you to interact, there is some sort of format which would allow the audience to participate directly with the show. And that's probably where I would take it, but I'm not a TV producer and no one will listen to me. But it's about the innovation. And if you look at, whilst the strengths of shows like Dragon's Den and The Apprentice are in the fact it stayed true to a format, the world has moved on in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of technology, in terms of the type of people that are success stories. So it can be adapted to a younger audience. But you've got to remember with these shows, the biggest audience by a mile is 18 to 24-year-olds, young people that want to learn. And I think they like it because they can grasp it. You don't have to be an intellectual. In the same way, my mum can watch it and have an opinion on it, no different to my opinion. So that's kind of the beauty of it. But there must be an opportunity to sort of move it on in terms of having a format that is just, I think, uses technology more is the key to it.
Amazing, good stuff. Now, giving the guys in the room some advice around getting in the press, as a business, what are the sort of things that you would recommend that they do? Let's say local press.
So
what the publications want? Like what stories have you got to take and what are they looking for?
So if you break down any story, there's only really maybe, I don't know, I'll say 10 different things that are true to any story you see. So it can be a story about human interest, can be a story that's related to celebrity, it can be a story that's related to controversy, it could be invented controversy. It can be a story related to the zeitgeist of what's going on in the world and where you fit in. It's got to be, what I would say is, man bites dog, not dog bites man. And what I mean by that is something that's slightly unexpected. If you're looking at regional press, first thing is, how are you relevant to that region? What are you contributing in terms of employment, in terms of new developments, in terms of innovation? Building a relationship with, the beauty of local press is it's local, so they understand the areas they're covering, and you can build a relationship with the media. So even things that wouldn't necessarily be of interest to national press will still be a locally relevant story. If you've got interesting customer stories, if you've got interesting staff stories, I think human interest is often the most powerful tool to talk to national press about. Think about the power of imagery and good photos. What's happened with regional media is the resources are much more limited than they were this time 5 years ago, 10 years ago. They're desperate for stories. They're desperate for photos. They're desperate for video content. Make it easy for them. And have an opinion on things that are relevant to your local region. Local radio is such a powerful PR tool, which sometimes gets overlooked, but offering yourself up as a spokesperson. So, I don't know, to use a basic example, the budget, what does that mean to your local region, to your business? Are you worried about it as a local business owner? Are you worried about the cost of living crisis? Are you worried about the increased cost of materials and all the shit that Brexit's caused? These are all things that you've got an opinion on that are valid to your business and your region. So make sure your local media, know who you are and know that you're there as a spokesperson.
And what's the best way for a business to establish those connections? Would you say it's just ringing the local press and saying, I'd love to comment on stuff, I'm a local business owner? Or would it be just writing up press releases and hitting their info at news desk email consistently? How do you establish yourself as a voice?
You've got to build a relationship. And in its simplest form, what I would probably do is write to, for a start, understand the media that you're approaching. So, the biggest mistake a lot of PRs make is they don't read the publications. And if I was to phone up, I don't know, The Sun and speak to a journalist and say, I've got a story about Joseph, you might say, well, do you actually read what I write? Like, why would I want to write about Joseph? I need to know who the right journalist is, what they write about, and why Joseph would be interesting to them, and find that hook. So why are you going to be interesting to them? Well, for a start, you're an employer in their region, you're a successful business person, you've got a view on things that are important to your region, and start to build that relationship. So in its simplest form, I would message them, say, I know you're a busy man, I read the Watford Gazette every week, love your columns. I know I'm not probably number one of your priority list, but if ever you want someone to talk about, business, the economy, what's going on, here's a small paragraph about our business. We employ X people. You might know this building project. We did that, and just start to build that relationship slowly. If you read something that's of interest and you've got an opinion of it, write, I read the piece you wrote today, or I listened to your show today on the radio about X. If ever you want someone to comment, I know you had Joe Blogs on today talking about it, but if you want to change your voice, I'd be happy to do that. Just do it. It's very simple. It's just building relationships. Sometimes people are a bit sort of in fear of PR, think it's like a dark art and don't really understand it. It's not. It's just building relationships and explaining why something is of interest to them. So just think about who they're broadcasting to and think how you can add some value to that.
It's absolutely brilliant advice, and for everybody in the room that wants to get that PR, and it's free advertising. You know, they are looking for people to do stories on and to speak about certain things. So don't be shy of doing that outreach and and you've got good stuff to talk about. So locally, you're able to add value to local press, and they're always looking for stories to pick up. So, you know, it's absolutely a phenomenal advice. And I do think people are a little bit scared of it because it's unknown. And, you know, as you've just said, fantastic. It's just simple. It's just about creating the relationships with the right people. And once you've got an established relationship, you know, you can then just start pinging them everything. And then sometimes they'll do a story for you, which is indirectly an advert. As long as you fluff it up with a bit of, something else, you can get your websites in there.
You don't even have to do that. Sometimes you don't even have to fluff it up. But, you know, you could... It's not necessarily appropriate to every business in this room, but sometimes you could say, oh, we'd like to run a competition, or we'd like to do this, we'd like to do that. Lots of businesses that I represent, they're quite dry, serious businesses, but we create campaigns that are of interest. So it might be a recruitment firm where we do an awards ceremony to find the rising stars of the industry. And so we sort of create our own content. Nice. And we know out of those 100 rising stars that enter, each one of them has a region. So Joe from Peterborough is a great story for the Peterborough Gazette. You know, you've got 100 different stories with your name attached to it. So you can be a bit creative. You don't need to kind of come up with Coca-Cola style campaigns, but you can use if you were to do a local heroes award, or sometimes it's when you go back to what you were saying about association. One way you can associate is if there is local charities or local football team or things you can support, you can start to build a profile that way. There's all different ways. I mean, the journalists that I know today, some of them are contacts. I mean, I spoke yesterday to a journalist at The Sun who placed my first ever story when I was on work experience in 1995. You never forget your first story in a national paper. She gave it to me, and I'm still talking to her all these years later. You keep those relationships if you work well, and it's about making it easy for them. Journalists are lazy, and the easier you can make their life, because they're short on time, short on resource, the more likely they are to want to use your quotes and come to you. I mean, I get asked for shit all the time, and a lot of it is irrelevant. At the moment, for some reason, I'm the spokesperson on how Matt Hancock got on in I'm a Celebrity. Don't really know how I found myself in that role, but everyone wants to know, was it good PR? Did he do a right thing? And journalists are lazy. I did one piece about 3 weeks ago talking about it. Every day I get a phone call from a different journalist. What do you think about Matt Hancock today? What do you think? And I didn't even really have an opinion 3 weeks ago, but the only reason they're doing that is because they're lazy and they're reading a piece in the Times or the Telegraph or the Sun or wherever it was first of all, and they see my name, we'll use him for a quote. I've also had the same with Kate Moss for about 10 years. I once said a quote on Kate Moss. For 10 years, people phoned me asking me my opinion on everything Kate Moss did. It's just the way journalists work. So if you can get yourself associated with being a spokesperson for your industry, for your region, just as a general business person from your area, journalists will come back to you again and again and again. And the trick is, wherever you can, to try and say yes. I did an interview walking down the road here today, needed it like a hole in the head. But I want people to know that if they phone me, I'm there to help them. Because also I will be asking them favours. I know that I'll be going back to that person talking about Matt Hancock that I didn't really want to talk to and say, I was there when you were on deadline and I gave you a quote you could use. Now I need a favour from you. Got this guy, Joseph. He's got a story. Will you write about it? That's how it works. Just trading and being useful and helpful and efficient. And you can build those. You don't need to be a PR professional to do that. It's natural to me. It might not be natural to you, but it is just a relationship thing. And you're all good at building relationships. You just think about it, how you would build a relationship with a customer, a client, a business. Media is no different. Nothing to be scared of. Don't feel intimidated. They're not looking to trick you out or get you to say something stupid. You're just there to be useful to them, and you've got to just show them how you are relevant to them, and then the rest of it is plain sailing. And the more you do, it's just a snowball. So.
Mate, this is fantastic advice. Thank you very much.